Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Hi, this is Mike, co-host of Realistic Sustainability, the podcast, which you probably already know, but I'm also the author of A Beginner's Guide to Greening Your Life. That was the book that led to our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and, well, even this show. It offers tips on promoting your positive footprint while decreasing your carbon footprint. So, if you want to read what started all of this, get A Beginner's Guide to Greening Your Life, available on Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or just visit greeningyourlife.org for more information. Thank you for joining the sustainable movement and promoting a greener future. Hi, and welcome back to Realistic Sustainability Educational Shorts. Well, it's spring again, and my yard, yet again, has gotten under my skin. The more I think about it, the more I look at it, the more it just drives me bonkers. The biggest thing for me is, I don't even do a lot with mine. I really think it should be a garden, but in your neighborhood, people might frown against it. So, for now, it's a lawn, just so you know. That's probably going to change at some point. But it got me thinking about this trap, this weird yard trap we are all in. You know, finely manicured lawns used to be something only for the rich. Now, you even have subdivisions who won't allow your lawn to get long. Yet, what do? We feed the heck out of it and then punish it when it gets too long. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. We pour all kinds of things on it that encourage your lawn to grow nice, pretty green grass, and the moment it does, we run out there and cut it down. Does that seem a little weird to you? Because as I get older, that's starting to seem a little weird to me. Imagine trying to grow anything else, and then being upset when it grows. It's kind of what we do with our grass. A lot of people are bummed out when it's time to cut the grass. Oh, I gotta go cut my yard. Well, we kind of designed it that way. Now, are there other options? Absolutely. There's all kinds of natural grasses that grew in Michigan that only grow to a certain height. But that's not what we call lawn. Everybody would see that and say, that looks like a weed. Matter of fact, your city or township would probably show up and say, hey, that's got to be shorter, since all the ordinances are used to regular green grass that we've trucked in from other states. Yeah, not native to the state you live in. So we're always fighting it. Letting it grow, cutting it down. Letting it grow, cutting it down. Sometimes people even pay to water it. They put in sprinkler systems and then run out there and cut it. They go and buy fertilizer or have a company come and spray their lawn. Then it grows and they cut it down. It's funny that we even have that industry. It's just our lawn. Matter of fact, do you even know what chemicals that lawn really needs? I know there's commercial companies that will come out and say, I've done a soil sample, you need all of it. But there's other places you can go. I would take a sample to the local college. See if they have a department that can look at it and tell you exactly what's in it. And tell you, depending on what you're trying to grow, what needs to be in it. A lot of times, local colleges can turn your yard into a class. The students learn a lot. You don't pay a company to look at it. And they'll give you a much more honest answer. Matter of fact, most of the time, yards don't need anything. They just spray it on knowing that it's going to rain and wash off it. And if you work with the college, you're likely to find natural ways to condition your soil if it really needs to be conditioned. You don't necessarily want synthetic fertilizers or pest control sprayed on your lawn. We're finding that that's one of the big contributors of why we don't have as many bees as we once had. It doesn't matter if they touch it, they get it on them and they carry it back to the hive. That's not so great. It's better if we put natural grasses to your region there. If there isn't any decent ones, consider foodscaping with edible landscaping. That's always good. It also helps feed the bees. But if your neighborhood just simply doesn't allow it, let the grass be the grass. If it's greenish, and it's there. No one can be too upset. We have to be respectful with nature. Understand that in order to be sustainable, nature itself is beautiful. It's not the beauty we always define as beauty. It's an ecosystem that functions right. That's beautiful. It's very, very important. I wrote about a situation in my book, A Beginner's Guide to Greening Your Life. I followed the water from my property. So it rains. If I would have sprayed my yard, not all that fertilizer gets down into the soil or into the grass. When it rains, it washes. And unfortunately, we don't grade our yard so the water stays on our property. It washes down into the street. Well, in that case in the book, that mixes with everything else in the street. The oils and other fluids leaked from vehicles, the sediment and dirt and leaves and everything else in the street. Well, as it rains, it washes it down to the drain. It must be gone, right? It's not. It's in our storm drain. And in most cities, that's combined with sewer. Both of those hook together to go back to the water treatment plant, which means the stuff you bought, you're going to have to pay to remove it so that later you can use that same water to sprinkle it on the grass again. But when it rains real hard, a lot of these combined sewers, they have an overflow. That overflow usually leads into a lake or a river or a stream. And when you have a lot of houses that fertilize, especially around a lake, higher cost of living, people put a lot more into the look of their yard. That fertilizer ends up in your lake. Then what happens is everybody comes together and says, hey, our lake has all this algae. We're going to have to pay a company to come out, pour some chemicals in to help balance out our lake. What really happened is they put a bunch of chemicals on their lawn, and that ended up in their lake and fertilized the lake, creating all this algae and invasive species, killing off the fish they really like, leaving only hardier fish, the carps of the world, catfish, stuff like that. So then they got to pay someone to come in and fix their lake. Because they paid to do it, now they got to pay to remove it. It's like this vicious cycle of a negative feedback loop, and that's why I call it the yard trap. So let your yard be a yard. Let some biodiversity happen in there. If you have some weeds, okay, they're still green. Let them be. Don't fertilize. Don't chemically fertilize. No synthetics. Talk to your local colleges. Trust me, they have a better way of doing it. And as Nick would say, stop taking the nature out of nature. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate your support. If you get an opportunity, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, especially if you like this short. Or share it with a friend. Thanks again, and we will see you next week.
If you have the desire to be sustainable but are unsure of what can go in the recycling bin, or you're constantly forgetting the reusable grocery bags, check out Starting Sustainability, the podcast. Don't be frustrated or confused anymore. Starting Sustainability was created to help those beginning their sustainable journey. Each week, we give ideas on simple concepts you can easily incorporate into your current lifestyle. We also share stories of what works and what doesn't, so you don't have to waste your time and money. Check out Starting Sustainability, available everywhere you listen to podcasts.